Hello mask fans, Darren here again. Today going to bring y'all someone special. I want to introduce Jordu Schell to my conversation about Halloween mask. Of all the special effects artists that have contributed to the mask community, I think Jordu Schell goes without saying as being one of the most influential persons in the hobby sculpting masks. First of all, if you don't know who Jordu Schell is, go to IMDb, go to Google, and search who he is. He's a Hollywood FX artist, sculptor, who's worked on several major motion pictures, won several awards for his work. But Jordu, who comes from Pennsylvania, has worked at several of our favorite companies. When he was a teenager, he sculpted several masks, some which you all see today. If you look at the Gothic Demon down here by Def Studios, this is one of his works when he was younger. He worked for Ed Edmonds at Distortions Unlimited for a while in the 1980s, I believe, before he moved out to Hollywood, began his Hollywood career in sculpting. And since then, I think he has flourished. But it goes without saying, Jordu, who is an amazing, funny guy, has had that big impact on our hobby. And I just want to say thank you, Jordu. Thank you for calling several times. Thank you for your political humor. Thank you for debating me, even though he and I sometimes disagree on our political stances. What we do is find common ground and understand that by listening to each other, you can actually get somewhere in life and have that transformative experience to further the world in a better place. But the first time Jordu contacted me was 2011 2012, when Mask Fest was in its early beginnings and the Making Monster show was on television, and Jordu decided to play a prank on Ed Edmonds. And one of the pranks was that Ed had sculpted a mask that he did not know that he had sculpted, but Jordu, being a Distortions collector, really wanted this mask. So he had made several copies of this mask and sent it out to several collectors in the hobby. I was one of them, Pete Roberts was one of them, Eric Austin was another one, Jim Lawrence down at Morris Costumes was another one who had a big one. David Lady was involved in this little hoax. So this is Hoaxar, and this is the mask that Jordu said Ed sculpted, had him leaving on the show, and got Ed hook, line, and sinker, as they say. So my role in that whole hoax was that from the West Spring Spook House, which I've talked about several times, we had this mask that we had obtained it from Morris Costumes, and we used it several years in the haunted house. Now, Jordu sent me two copies. He sent me one copy to use in the hoax, and the other copy was a nice full production type run copy of it. But this one right here is the one that really speaks to me why Jordu is such a good guy, and why this mask right here means so much to me. All right. So, Hoaxar, as they say. When Jordu sent me this mask, he wanted me to have a beat-up copy from the West Spring Spook House. So he made this mask in a special paint scheme. He cut it up to make it look old, worn, a lot. Basically, run hard and hung up pretty wet. He cracked the epoxy in the eyes. He painted extra dirt and goo on it. He made it look old as he could, which was phenomenal. So I sent Ed pictures of it, my story of how we had it, how we found it, and I was just glad to be a part of something fun like that. Other masks that you have seen come through the Monster of the Month, Jordu sculpted 5 masks, I think. You got the Cretan Eldor here, the CBX 32, I think, a gray, which I know he just loved making. He so much enjoys doing that. You had Sun Eater down here, and there's a severed vampire's head also. But some of the more prominent works I think that Jordu did was with Def Studios. You cannot match Jeff's work over at Dev Studios, both his mask making with the materials that he uses, the pulls that you get, how thick they are, and the paint scheme that Jeff puts on them. So these two masks and the Demon mask here too were from Dev Studios. Xenomorph, I think, is the name of this one. Great sculpt. Kind of have a distortion-esque feel to it. That's the reason why I always love this one. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of this guy right here, but another one that Jordu made. Some of the pictures Jordu had of a more complex paint scheme actually has antennae coming out through here. I got another one right here that pull down, just to see how Jordu takes masks from different ways and makes them different. You know, you got Healer, which is another Dev Studios mask here. Again, taking a basic mask of something that goes over your head and then elongating here, and Healer is continuing to be one of the more impressive masks I think Jordu has sculpted. Just going a different direction out of the general mask canon that you see. So Healer is another one. Some of the Distortions masks that Jordu sculpted, well, I really don't know. He designed them at Distortions Unlimited. I really haven't got a chance to talk to Jordu and find out which ones he actually did. I know one mask that he did was kind of like the zombie alien mask that he sculpted. I know he did that one, but for some of the other ones in the collection, usually in the 1987 or 88 on forward, probably 1992, were some runs by Jordu. But hey, Jordu, thanks for being a good friend. Thanks for everything you have contributed to the mask community, but above everything else, thank you for entertaining us. The monsters that you create that we see on the silver screen, oh my gosh. It's fun to see your friends' work come through and so many other people across the entire world get to enjoy it. But if you get an opportunity to meet Jordu, shake his hand, say hi, listen to his stories, even more so if you have an opportunity to attend one of his workshops, highly suggest that you try to get enrolled in them. You'll learn a lot from the experiences and tidbits of knowledge that Jordu has. He used to run a blog, an audio blog. I don't think he's running a new episode in about 2 years. We're hoping he'll bring it back, but I know with everything going on, time is always limiting factor, and that's very time consuming to go in on a Saturday and make a mask. But anyway, Jordu Schell, phenomenal artist, contributed to not just Distortions, also sculpted for Don Post, sculpted for Beast Up Studios, sculpted for Dev Studios, sculpted for Morbid Studios, and who else knows what Jordu did out there. He's just all over the place. He loves it. He has a passion for this hobby. And Jordu, thank you. We love you, brother. And just want to say thanks and do a little homage to you. And every time I get an opportunity to add one of your masks to the collection, I look forward to it. Go to his website, jorduschell.com, and check him out. He has some pieces for sale up there. Some of them are very affordable and very lifelike. You're not going to find a better artist than Jordu Schell. All right, mask fans. So until we do it again next time, y'all have a good one. Stay safe out there.